Coming up next on This Week in Google, it's me, Jason Howell, filling in for Leo Laporte, who is somewhere on a cruise. Have fun, Leo. I'm also joined by Jeff Jarvis, Stacey Higginbotham, and Ant Pruitt. And what do you know? We've got a bunch of Google news to actually talk about this week. We've got AR glasses being beta tested. We've got Google with a hiring freeze in effect. Pixelbooks apparently on the horizon. And then Chrome OS Flex for converting like computers that aren't running Chrome OS into Chrome OS devices. And then, of course, yes, we've got non-Googly news like the opening of OpenAI to the public, Netflix's second bad quarter, and a video game with cats that's making real cats very happy. All that and more coming up next on This Week in Google.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 673, recorded Wednesday, July 20th, 2022. Swipe right for schmuck. This episode of This Week in Google is brought to you by HPE GreenLake, orchestrated by the experts at CDW, who can help you consolidate and manage all your data in one flexible edge-to-cloud platform to scale and innovate. Learn more at cdw.com/HPE. It's time for Twig, This Week in Google. I'm like envisioning like the title cards going, This Week in Google, coming towards the camera. We need to make that happen with the new logo art that you've surely already seen in your podcatcher of choice. I'm Jason Howell, filling in for Leo Laporte, who is hopefully not getting seasick on a cruise with a bunch of other Twit fans and Lisa and Paul Thurrott is there as well. There we go. So they're having a great time. I'm planning on having a great time here with the Twig fam, starting with Jeff Jarvis. He is the Leonard Tao Professor for Journalistic Innovation at the... There we go. Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Welcome, Jeff. Good to see you.
Given the new logo, I think we should start off like this.
Yes, right. Hands up, everybody. Hands up. Yes, I love it. Talk to the hand.
Of course,
good call.
But doing that smart ass, I pulled my earpiece out right here.
That's what you get. That's what you get. Good to see you, Jeff. Also joining us, it's Stacey Higginbotham from Stacey on IoT. Welcome, Stacey.
Welcome back, Stacey.
Yeah,
so good to be back.
Oh, that's right. Oh, so I've got you in the doc last week, but that's right. You weren't in the doc last week because you were
sorry
not
about
there.
That
Kathy
must have been an unpleasant surprise.
No. It was just the page from last week, but I had obviously not updated it. That's right. You were out, and it's great to have you back. You were gone 2 weeks in a row, in fact, right?
Yep, I was.
And now you're ready to talk Google. Welcome back.
Good to have you. I'm so excited about Google this week. There's so much news.
There really is. Yes. And we're going to talk all about it. We actually have a good amount of Google news so we can keep true to the name of this show for a change. Also joining us, it's Ant Pruitt, hands-on photography and, maintainer of Club Twit and all other things. Welcome, Ant.
Hello, sir. How you be, Mr. Howell?
I'm doing all right. I had a little bit of a bumpy start with my audio interface not working, but I think I've smoothed that out and good to go. And it's good to see your face. Not in the office though this week, but that's okay.
Likewise, sir. Likewise.
This
will be fun.
If you're supposed to have everybody be virtual. If one person is virtual, that's like the way you're supposed to run virtual meetings. So this is perfect.
So it works out. All right. It works out. We're finally learning the etiquette of Zoom. Of doing this online.
None of us are learning etiquette.
Yeah. Not on this show.
We're rude on this show.
Yeah. That's what makes it appealing. Well, it's good to see you all, and it's good to be able to join you on such a Google heavy week. Where do you all want to start? Because I see at the top is Netflix, but if we've got a lot of Google, why don't we start with Google Glass? Because there's not a whole lot to this story other than the fact that at Google I/O, if you recall Google I/O, Google was talking about kind of the next iteration of AR glasses that Google is working on, going to put out at some point. I feel like when Google I/O was happening and they were showing off the glasses, I felt like this was like maybe a couple of years out, but apparently they're going to start beta testing these suckers. I think next month, starting in August, you might encounter someone wearing the new iteration of
I have
Google's
a proposal.
AR glasses. Yes.
I want to be able to trade in my Google Glass on this. I think I have a right.
That would be nice. I would do that.
Yes. Yes.
In a heartbeat. Yes.
Yeah, those $1,500 glasses.
Mr. Jarvis, it's probably going to cost you more to send it to them versus what those things are actually worth.
Yeah, I know.
They're not worth that $1,500.
Rub it in. Right? Rub it in, Amp. Rub it in. I bought the lenses for them. I bought real lenses for them so I could wear them all the time. I'm that much of a schmuck. Am I going to buy these? Probably because I'm a schmuck.
You're not a schmuck. You go all in. You dedicate yourself to the bit. That's what it's all about.
For the show. I do it for the show. You're dedicated to the bit. You're right.
And Kevin did the same thing. So, you're in good company, Jeff.
I am. Yeah. He's there with you.
But these, so y'all, these are not going to be tested broadly. It's just like some of their employees, and these glasses are different. They're for AR, understanding like the environment around you. They can't take pictures and video except algorithmically. So basically they're pulling in data, but it's not data that you can like post on Instagram or something like that. And they will have a red light for when they're collecting that information.
Oh, I don't know why I had it in my head that there was no camera on here, but that makes sense if it's an AR, glass, that it would have some sort of camera. It's just you can't use it to take pictures.
It's like LiDAR,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not LiDAR, but it's like time of flight.
Yeah.
Image sensing. I have a hard time we need a new word for taking imagery for computers and not for people's vision.
Right.
But is this basically a play for Google to take this particular product or proposed product out of the regular consumer's hand and just saying, we're really focusing more so on enterprise and manufacturing? Do you see some type of fun consumer product coming out of this? With all of the Pokemon stuff that people still play. I even heard somebody still plays Ingress. And that's AR game.
That's a blast from the past.
Well, the last game I played was Myst, so.
Good job.
Wow.
Congratulations. It's about time.
I don't know if, so from a consumer perspective, Google is talking about things like translation. What else did they talk about? I'm trying to remember what all they said, but
that's the main thing that I remember is translation.
Probably directions and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Right. Now, I think given how Google historically, you do actually need some sort of image sensing if you want to do, how Google has their AR directions now. I don't know if you've played with their directions.
Yes.
Where it'll put that up. So I'm envisioning being able to do something like this on a heads-up display would actually be really good. So you would need to get some sort of image data from it for that. For translation, as someone who just spent time in a foreign country trying to read menus using my phone, having a heads-up display that shows they can see the world.
That sounds so nice.
Instead of sitting there pointing at it with your phone, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I get it.
Which was fine.
It works, I'm sure, right?
It's fine, but this would be truly transformative, right? Like if you were already wearing glasses anyways, it would be less of a I need to pull out my phone in order to do this thing, and more, this is just a new superpower that I have when I wear these things. It just automatically happens. That's awesome.
A good way to put it, I think. Yeah. But I think it's a really interesting question, Ned, because they learned the lesson with glass that if you give it to just everyday, ordinary schmucks like me, we're going to end up making fun of it, and it's not really going to work. So they realized that the real use of it was for tradespeople and doctors and so on and so forth. So I think if they learn that lesson, you never know with Google, but it would say to me that their reflex should be to start with those kinds of uses and prove it.
Mr. Jarvis, as someone that has their own theme song, you're not an everyday person, my man.
Well, I wasn't
definitely not a schmuck. No. You are not a schmuck.
That the use cases, I think consumers would want this if they had the right kind of gear. So I think they found the use cases in enterprise because A, they were expensive, but B, because they weren't comfortable to wear. So you had to have like a really good incentive, and your employer really saying, hey, this is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I think like, and we're seeing, like, if you think about Snap spectacles, you think about the Ray-Ban sunglasses. Amazon made the Echo frames. They weren't that great. But you see that we're trying to, like, it's very clear that we're trying to figure out how to cram as much tech into a truly wearable device.
Yeah.
And we're still not sure what the use case is to drive, like, people to actually purchase it.
So stay on that, Stacey, for a second.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so I think that's Google's attempt to throw something out there, start playing around with it and see what that, I hate to say a killer app, but at least a viable app for Glass might be.
Mm-hmm. So with the old Glass, I don't think it was anticipated that taking photos was going to be a primary use. Robert Scoble in the shower and all that. And I think that what Google wished for was the heads-up display giving you information, because it's an information company. So what's interesting in this case, if they disable photo taking for any purpose other than data and knowing where it is and that kind of stuff, and being able to present an augmented reality, the design decisions will drive the usage, is I guess what I'm trying to say.
Yes, and we're so much, and we're also so much further in terms of what these are capable of. Now we have, I can't remember, was Glass back in like 2013?
Yeah, I mean it was almost it was 10 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
So now we
Glass
have
was 10 years ago.
Real-time translate, right? We have always-on wake word detection that can actually like play back music or do, like, we have so much more available to us that isn't taking pictures, that still feels that we have these things available to us now, and that'll be kind of exciting.
So with the superpower, what would you most want to be able to do with it?
My issue is I need it to be almost as good as my current glasses, and like not to think like translate sounds awesome, but how often am I in a foreign country?
Right. Imagined using it there?
God, I would have loved it. I would have loved it, but it wouldn't have been something I would have purchased for that. Like,
for that.
That's like so I'm like, what is my like almost everyday use case where this becomes compelling? Maybe it's really interesting.
Yeah.
I actually don't think notifications is a good one, simply because like I don't want to be reading while I'm trying to drive, right? Does that make sense?
Right.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we've kind of shifted a little bit. I know I have, away from let me know every single little thing that happens as it happens, immediately on my phone, but in front of my face is handy already. But that's like an immediate, like when I think of translation, you're right. I'm rarely ever in a situation where translation is necessary. So that's not going to be so that would be very helpful. But
you now navigate, if you're driving on a big
app,
screen.
I don't know.
Like, I'm just thinking about like how my Tesla handles, they have two forms of navigation. On the big dash in front of me, I get like basically like just a little turn left here kind of thing. And then as a woman, like I never take out my phone when I'm walking places, right? Because I don't want someone to come and whack me over the head.
Situational awareness.
Yeah. I got to be aware. So I'm thinking about like, there's also like, I really think things like music playback might be good, or the ability to start a voice call could be compelling. Hey, G, call 911, and share location or something like that could be useful. So I'm just trying to think, I'm not super busy right now. What if you could just like, as you're walking by a place, see like, oh, holy cow, that's crowded. I mean,
now
maybe you can see it.
The annotated world. Ding, that, by the way, it also makes me listening to you guys makes me think it should be disabled when you drive.
Yeah. And I'm sure
you should have a driving mode.
There's plenty of tools.
Or driving mode that's simplified. That only gives you what you actually need for that very specific
task.
But
your focus comes off the distance and onto the lens, doesn't it?
So has it asked you, because Google will ask you, instead of calibrating, it's like, hey, hold up your camera and let us see where you are. Have you done that yet, Jeff?
Yes, it works for 3 steps and then it gets confused again. I haven't done this in quite a while, in fairness, but it was so bad.
You and your electromagnetic blood.
Top of the real world. So I could see something like that being enabled in driving mode. I mean, it's not there yet, but that I feel like could be where it's going.
I can see that on your windshield.
Yes.
That'd be cool.
Okay, no, we can't bring a car in. That's a whole nother system of like, no, Jeff.
Which, of course, is what I would do. I would get a Google car. I'm not getting an Apple car.
Being able to throw on contextual awareness of the world around you, talking about superpowers like that, right? Possibilities that we're talking about here. If I knew that when I threw these glasses on and I went for a lunch, things like that actually impact your window into a world that doesn't exist without those glasses, right? It's kind of like
that was Foursquare's dream, was to do that,
right?
Back in the day.
Yes.
Well, you know the
you
killer
will have
app
to have your
that they will
phone in
never
your pocket.
do. Oh, sorry, Stacey.
What won't they? Well, I was just going to tell Jason that he will have to still have his phone in his pocket because we don't have the computing power for this yet. But okay, that's true. And what is the killer app they'll never do?
They'll never do is, who the hell is that? Oh my God.
Yeah. They'll totally do that.
Yeah. Don't want those
that
privacy
for me,
implications.
I'm terrible at names. Oh, I would love
What if they did it so like, here's what if they did this? What if I opted into sharing my face data with my contacts and then Google's like, this is a contact of yours. Would that be okay for you?
You could put in your enemies as contacts. I mean,
opt-in is okay.
I'm easy, but
I would have to opt in to be like.
Oh, you would have to as a subject. Oh, but then
also
opt-in is cool.
Yeah, and then also I would probably want some sort of like creep mode in that, where I would be like, even though they're my contact, I don't want them. So I might have to proactively go in and delete. And I could always opt into or opt out of it completely for everyone. What about if they did it that way?
I like that.
Some sort of like quick disable or invisibility mode or something like that. Yeah.
I still think I think invisibility mode, so Google says in they're talking about this, they're not going to share data from sensitive areas like government buildings, hospitals, places like that. I actually think Google has the power to shut that down on the device. They're just saying they won't keep that data. But I actually think Google has the power to create an invisibility mode for people. Yeah, y'all. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think these, how is Amazon doing with Echo Frames? I know that they have a second generation, so they didn't totally kill it. And I realize that it's definitely, in comparison with what we're talking about, it's definitely a lot less than, by comparison. But has Amazon been at all successful with kind of bringing a kind of connected glasses to the market? I hear nothing about them, I feel like.
I haven't. Kevin hated them. I haven't ever encountered someone in the wild with them.
Yeah.
But I have encountered people with the Ray-Bans sunglasses that freaking love them. Like I've encountered 4 people in the wild wearing this, which isn't a lot, but it's more than the Echo.
It's enough for a New York Times trend story.
That's a lot. Or they? I
feel like that is a lot.
Who were these people? Were they people
Mostly
that would be panelists on this show, or was it
right? Yeah, where? Random airports or at a convention?
Yeah, tech conferences.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
So all right, then no.
Men with money at tech conferences.
It ain't a lot of people with them then, if that's the case.
Yeah. But still, I can't imagine many of those have been sold in the grand scheme of things. So that's still.
I mean, at Best Buy, there's 3 or 4 brands of listen to music glasses. Right. So that's starting to be a better known interface.
And those are like bone conduction sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've tested pairs of those. They're actually quite nice. Like, because you can hear the world around you.
Yeah.
Like, I would probably wear something like that if I didn't have glasses. I would pick up a pair of those for like biking or something like that.
Yeah.
But I can't see without my glasses.
Yeah. Neither can I, or with contacts. By the way, if you still have those classic, Google Glass, and they're not going to take them as trade-in for these new things, which I'd be really surprised if they did. But hey, you never know. You could. I mean, I'm seeing them on eBay for like $450. You could just sell them.
Really?
Someone will buy them.
Yeah.
Apparently,
your Google Classics.
Buying collector's items, essentially.
Collected. Exactly. Oh. That's what you're doing there.
Well, or I contributed my Osborne 1 to the Museum of Printing in Haverhill, Mass. Maybe I can contribute my Google Glass.
Maybe.
Got a tax deduction.
Nice try.
I think you should just take the cash myself, but
donated from a schmuck. Yeah. On loan from the collection.
You're not a schmuck.
Show title.
People want to know if their Jarvis is a schmuck. Well, Jarvis is not a schmuck.
Well, we'll do an internet poll. Schmuck, not schmuck.
Swipe left for not schmuck. Swipe right for schmuck. Let's see here. Should we talk a little bit about, I don't know how much there is to talk about this, but Google has officially announced that they are freezing their hiring process. They did say that if there's any hiring happening, like they're in the midst of hiring someone, they're not going to like totally shut that down. But I guess new people that aren't already in the process of being hired by Google, you're going to have to wait your turn, or who knows when that's going to be done.
It's 2 weeks.
They say for 2 weeks. Okay,
I thought it was interesting considering
that's a short amount of time.
Talked about this.
It's a very short amount of time, but I think it's a signal. I think it says, "Hold on, everybody. Yeah. We're gonna, we got a plan coming. Don't do anything, because otherwise people are going to rush in and hire 20 people."
Right.
But what is that plan? Is this all based on the downward turn of ad revenues or what? That's what I couldn't quite understand, because they just talked about this last week of the season sort of slowing down or what have you, and then now we got this report that's basically cold turkey stopping it for 2 weeks. What's the timing on that? This is July. The quarter's not over for another 2 months, right?
Yeah, but we're in a bear market right now. So once you hit, it's like a magical time when everyone freaks out.
And everybody is freaking out. All the big tech companies seem to be announcing something similar to this right now.
Yes. Microsoft, Apple, I think is.
Yeah.
Facebook certainly has.
They're either announcing hiring freezes or announcing layoffs. The freak out has begun.
I've seen a lot of layoff news.
One of my friends just got laid off.
Oh, no. TikTok has started laying off. Even TikTok. Even the beloved TikTok.
That's right.
It's an excuse, too, to Ant's point and to Stacey's. When you hit a downturn, you can start doing things that you otherwise wouldn't do and use this as an excuse. So you're not evil and nasty. You're just, sorry, it's, downturn.
I don't think it's that. I just think it's like, okay, guys, we're about to enter we're potentially about to enter into turbulent economic times. We had a plan in place, but seeing these signs, basically you're just putting on the brakes because you're like, there is a windy road ahead. And what they'll do, like a 2-week pause makes total sense. So like, let's say you had open headcount, your 50-person division, you're basically like, you can't fill that yet. Now, in 2 weeks after they've like, these are the priorities we're going to have, then you can pitch your open positions again. I mean, it's just like tapping the brakes a little bit.
You sound like you're just laid off your daughter.
But it's fascinating that it's just a 2-week window. That's I guess because I don't quite get.
No, that's so they can plan. They're like, don't hire someone right now until we figure out how we want to handle this.
Okay,
that's all this is.
Right.
It's
okay. That makes more sense.
Basically, like, I don't know about you, but if you're looking at the market right now, or like we're self-employed, but like if I had a job, I might be like, oh, dude, let's not make any big purchases for a second just to make sure,
we still have
can see where things are going.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Because hiring someone's like making a big purchase.
Okay, so now my next question is, why is this news? And I don't mean that.
Well, I guess you can't work at Google anymore.
Why is this news?
Well,
it's an indication.
It's an indication that the market is freaking people out.
Yeah.
Okay. And
based on this, we should expect like maybe they'll extend the hiring freeze. If they extend the hiring freeze and we find out about it, then we know that Google thinks this is going to be actually more severe than they originally thought. Or maybe they'll be like, we're not going to hire anybody in our ad division. And that means they're not confident about ads. Like, you'll get an indication of their priorities going forward, like where they think their growth and what they need to maintain. And
or if they hire 100 people in their Chromebook division, then I celebrate. You know,
Jeff,
well, now why would they
I bear
do
a
that?
message. I'll bear my message in a minute.
Your dog bears a message, apparently.
The message is the FedEx person is here.
Oh, goody. What does the FedEx person bring?
Not a Pixel book.
The thing of the week.
No.
So, maybe I should keep this as my thing. Oh, the dog. Okay. Kevin says, Jeff, is it the Lenovo Dragonfly, the HP Dragonfly, whatever his current Dragonfly Chromebook, that is the Chromebook for you.
Whoa.
So read that.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was a big this is the Chromebook that Pixel this should have been the Pixel Chromebook, were his words.
Oh, HP Elite Dragonfly.
You know, I saw it in Best Buy and I said, oh, HP, really? I do read Kevin every week. I just hadn't gotten to it today yet. Oh, Kevin.
Yeah, so
there is actually Chromebook news too
in
the rundown.
Oh, there's a 3:2 aspect ratio on that. Does that bother you, sir? I would assume not as a writer.
That's what I've got now. Or it's what I had last time.
Might bother him a little.
Yeah, a little bit. So there's a story in the rundown that says Osterloh did say that Google plans to make more Pixel books, by the way. He wouldn't say when. That was at I.O.
Yeah.
If you need something
they
for
plan to make more 2 years from now or 3 years from now or what? That's nothing.
First, my bubble ant bursted.
Hey, I'm going to keep it
old is
straight
your
with you,
Pixel
Mr.
book
Jarvis.
This is a new one. I had to get the Go because my old one died. So my battery just died. So this is the Go, which is fine. Kevin wouldn't have. Well, he didn't have the courage to recommend anything explicitly. He didn't want to blame him for anything.
Didn't Kevin Toffel like the Pixel Book Go, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, he did. But there was the other one. The one I was going to get is one of those that was that folds back, but then the screen digs into your knees, and it's kind of weird, and I wasn't that happy about it. And so I like this one. It's not as bright outside as I want, but it's a good machine.
Mm-hmm. Not enough nits.
Yeah.
Well, then you're going to have to wait a little bit longer for your Pixel Book. I doubt that it's going to be, have the mobile internet support for it, but we can always hold out hope. I was going to ask, does that matter?
Once I got rid of my grandfathered AT&T plan that wouldn't do tethering, and finally just surrendered. Okay, AT&T, you got me.
I see.
Now it tethers immediately, and I should have done it years before, and I was just being stubborn. But that's who I am. And so I don't care about that. I don't care about having LTE anymore.
Yeah. You can just tether, and it's basically the same
thing. Off my list, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's good that that's off your list, because apparently they don't really do that much.
It's not going to be on anybody's list. Yeah.
It's not their jam.
Not their jam anymore. On the Chrome OS tip, apparently there's a story in here on ZDNet about taking old Linux desktops and transforming them into Chrome OS. I guess Google has. What does Google have, a kind of a service now, or a way of?
Well, they have a version of Chrome that you can take to old Windows machines. I don't know if you can do it with Macs or not.
Okay.
But yeah, you can have the sense now to finally have a Chromebook. Now, what I don't know is what updating they will do of those, because Chromebooks do go out of update at some point. So if it's an old machine but a new build of Chrome, I don't know how that operates. I have no idea.
Good question. Chrome OS Flex is what that is called.
One of our listeners up in the Pacific Northwest, Ryan Lonsberry, mentioned doing this and hasn't had any issues with putting it on an old machine and seemed quite happy because I was complaining about my computer over the weekend acting up, and it's like, well, I just tried this new Chrome and works just totally fine. Getting work done with it too. So.
Nice. Speaking of getting new things, Ant, we missed the big story of the week. I forgot. I read this on Twitter. Very important. Are you getting a new Pixel 6? They finally admitted that it's broken?
Well, sir, it just got here this afternoon.
Oh, big news.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to wipe the other one and get everything transferred. But it just it made me mad because I said something nice about the dadgum phone last week on the show, and then the weekend it just totally went to crap. I mean, everything, it just, I don't know what happened.
2 inches away from my Wi-Fi and it won't do anything.
And it was just dead. I'm sitting here looking at the router and there was no Wi-Fi. Phone calls stopped working, or the phone would ring and I would answer it and no one would hear me, but yet I call back and they could hear me. I mean, it just totally went to crap. And I'm like, I just bragged about this dadgum phone. So
how hard was it to convince Google that it was dead?
Not very hard, because I can write quite sternly if I need to. And that's
the email was full of capitalization. That's basically all that it was.
So that seemed to work because, I used to be in tech support, so I know about all of the scripts and stuff and that they need to do. So I've already had all of that stuff ready to go, and I literally just pasted it here. All right.
Oh, so you showed them all the diagnostics you'd already done.
Oh yeah, and I was like, so look, so don't even start your little triage stuff with me. I don't even bother with that. And I usually say that in there, and they're like, well, okay, Mr. Pruitt, and here's your order for the replacement. Blah blah blah.
With no back and forth at all. That was it.
Oh no, It took about 15 minutes total.
That's nothing.
That's
awesome. A service. And you got to rent yourself out for this.
Yeah, no kidding. Just gotta. It's all about stern writing. That's all. That's all it is.
You didn't even have to hop on the phone. That's what's amazing.
I didn't call anybody. I did it all over the little chat thing. Because they have the little Pixel help stuff in the OS, and you just hit the little chat button, and I literally just hit paste because I had already started a little note, and I just copied, paste, and waited, and it was about 15 minutes. Total.
I mean, the tricky thing about that though is, like, I have definitely heard from people who have had that experience when it comes to support from Google, and then I have also heard from people who have had the exact opposite of that experience when it comes to support from Google. So it's never like a 100%. All you got to do is hit them up on chat and, tell them exactly what it is. And it's going to result in this sort of outcome. Sometimes it's hit or miss. Sometimes is it dependent on the CSR that you are actually communicating with? Probably to some degree, but you just don't really know,
Possibly. Yeah. But this person, they did attempt to go into their script, and I shut it down. Nope, you're not doing this. We've already gone through that. Let's just go ahead and move us along. And the other thing they mentioned was repairs. And I remember saying, no, you're not. I'm not going to send you this phone to repair it. This phone costs way too much to have to be repaired in under a year. Send me another phone. That was it.
That's good work. Good work.
So next week we get a report.
No, there was not a please in there at all. It's stern.
Okay, that's where I fall down. I'm always like, I would like a phone, please.
Please.
No,
okay.
It's stern.
Well, I could be stern and still say please.
Oh, I bet you. No. I can't put please in there if I'm going to be stern.
I have a mom voice.
Yeah. I'd be scared of you.
Nah.
Are you hopeful or optimistic that this new device will solve all your problems and you'll suddenly be like, oh, maybe I had a lemon all along. Like, maybe this is...
I'm optimistic because the phone did get better with those last 2 or 3 updates. It did get better. But like I said, I don't know what happened last weekend. Just totally random. Trying to talk to my mother and just... weird. And anywhere I'd go in the house, and I know the house has some dead spots or whatever, but this was everywhere I went. And then you try to call over Wi-Fi, and none of that was working, even standing next to the dadgum router. So yeah, something was wrong with that phone.
Are you maybe going through all this to avoid talking to your mother and having a good excuse for it?
I will not say such a thing on air because remember, I've told you before, my mother trolls me when I bring up stuff like this on air. So I will not say such a thing.
Mm-hmm. You've got some explaining to do. It's coming.
Love you, moms. Hope you had a good trip to Cleveland.
All right, let's take a pause. That was a lot of Google in one block. Didn't that feel good? Wasn't that invigorating?
Look at that.
Yeah, we delayed Elon Musk for that long.
Yeah. I'm cool if we don't talk about Elon today. That's just how I feel. But
I think a victory for Twitter is worth at least noting.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Well, yeah,
fair enough.
That's Twitter a legit story, but we don't need a whole cluster.
All right. All right. So how about this? We'll give you the victory lap for Twitter. Although maybe it's too early for a victory lap, but a victory clap.
But it felt good. A golf clap for Twitter. Yes.
Yeah. We'll give a victory clap to Twitter. After we thank the sponsor of this episode of This Week in Google. This episode is brought to you by HPE GreenLake. That's orchestrated by the experts at CDW. The helpful people actually at CDW, they're going to understand, and they do, that your organization needs simple management over its big data. But with some needing to keep their workloads on-prem, due to, organizational requirements, it can feel challenging to organize and then optimize your data. And that's where CDW can help your organization by consolidating and managing all your data in one flexible, unified experience with the HPE GreenLake Edge to Cloud platform. The experience you're going to get with HPE GreenLake is unique because no matter where your data or your applications live, you can free up energy, you can free up your resources with automated processes and streamlined management. And well, let's be honest, we could all use more streamlined things, so that's good. Not only that, HPE GreenLake creates a seamless cloud experience among multiple data environments thanks to the as-a-service model that actually meets your remote workforce right at the edge. And with unrivaled scalability, you're going to see an instant increase in capacity. That allows for greater flexibility and accelerated business growth so your team can tackle bigger priorities like, innovation, right? When you need to get more out of your technology, HPE makes data transformation possible. CDW makes it powerful. Learn more at cdw.com/HPE. And we thank CDW for their support of This Week in Google. All right. So let's give Twitter a little victory clap here. And what are we talking about? Well, so Elon Musk was trying to get this trial, I think, delayed into next year for reasons, I'm sure. Twitter wanted this soon. They wanted it fast, and that's what they got. It begins in October. The trial will be expedited, so 5-day trial, which is definitely a point for Twitter, worthy of a golf clap. And that's about all I have to say about that. I'm curious to know what y'all think about this. I'm Musk exhausted at this point, but
Masnick listened to the beginning of it, at least, and had a good report. And part of what was happening here was that Twitter was smashing through Musk right and left, and the judge didn't question Twitter at all. Musk's arguments were kind of dismissed. So the mood of it was, you can't read too much into it. It was just about, the only issue was the timing. But the judge made clear that there was damage to the company here if this went on longer. So Musk wanted February, Twitter wanted September, they got October. And so I think it's a first good sign here on the Twitter case.
Yeah, okay. He's just got to put up or shut up, or you can't be in limbo this long as a corporate entity. So that makes sense. Imagine if you worked for Twitter right now. It'd be awful.
Oh, God. Yeah, I have to. Yeah, I know no one directly that works at Twitter, but I have to imagine that this has been really, really challenging for anyone that works there. You're really questioning your choices, and wondering, do I stay? Do I go? Am I confident in the vision of Twitter that was versus where it's headed right now? Like, everything is one giant question mark. And yeah, how unfortunate. Like, it's unfortunate that something like this comes along and completely shakes the foundation I mean, it's underperforming on Wall Street. It's just sad. Even for a company that I appreciate and use regularly, it's sad.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, even with a company that like Twitter, well, even if Musk was not in the picture, someone to come in to wanting to buy them out, how was Twitter's future looking anyway? Because again, you just mentioned that they're sort of on a decline as far as revenues go. What do they have in place to sort of right the ship?
We don't know. They had, what was it? Blue Sky?
I mean, the $3 a month that the four of us, the only people are using, that's not going to save them, you know.
Well, if they got $20 billion in the bank from Musk, just to pick a number out of the thin air, that gives them a lot of runway to do a lot of development. Blue Sky.
We don't have though. Oh, yeah. Go on.
Go ahead. Nope.
I was going to say there's no articulate vision for what Twitter, like Agarwal. Is it Agarwal?
I can't say his name.
Agarwal. Yeah, there's no. Adderall. There's no vision yet. So I think it's not Adderall. What you're about to say, I think, Jeff, about Big Sky is interesting, but like, is that the future? We don't know. Could they invest in that? Sure. But you don't give $20 billion to someone who doesn't know what they're going to do with it from a company perspective.
Mm-hmm. Well, so that's the question of the board and the CEO. What happens? What's about the leadership? There's also a different ownership structure now because you have, there was another hedgie who is betting long on Twitter and short on Musk, and he's now one of the top 5 shareholders. We had another one last week called Hindenburg that is also now a big shareholder.
That's
and
right.
So the humanity, and so the shareholders, the large shareholders, I think will have things to say about where Twitter goes, who runs it to one end. As you know, I've talked about it ad nauseum in the show. I'm enthusiastic about the model of Blue Sky discussion as a protocol, building value-added layers on top of that. I think I think if Twitter it's basically the way to reopen the excitement of the API days when it started, and people were doing neat things with it. And if you could make that part of the company, I think good things could happen. We'll see. But I don't want it to get all messed up. I think people also go crazy online about it. You don't want Musk to buy it. And I said, to everybody, it's negotiation. Unless they get so obvious they're going to win in court, that's when Musk's back is against the wall. That's when you negotiate with him. And that's when you try to get a lot more than $1 billion out of him and get rid of him at the same time. Then it's a win-win.
Yeah, that'd be a smart.
There should be a German name for that. Is there a German name for that, Jeff? That type of negotiating strategy?
Sieg, I guess. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Twitter Sieg.
There you go. Okay.
Twitter Creed.
Is that enough Musk?
That's plenty of Musk for me.
Are we wearing enough Musk right now? We can move on.
It does.
Hey,
stink.
You know what? Yeah, I hope you. Hey, you know what? Dolly 2. They're opening up their wait list. Apparently, they're looking for 1 million users. They plan to do that within the next 2 weeks. You can get on their wait list if you haven't already. You can go to the site and sign up for Dolly 2 and start making some imagery. That's pretty cool. I want to make some images, see what I can come up with.
Oh, the form is great. First name and the fill in the blank name that's just the holding space there is Salvador. Last name Dolly.
Nice.
Clever.
Yeah. I've signed up. I don't know what I'm going to put in there when it comes through eventually. Hopefully I get picked for the off the wait list, but not hold my breath.
Dude.
But
you could be you could do, I'm looking forward to building images for my stories because there's no great stock art for IoT, right? So I'm what kind of crazy images can I build for spectral efficiency?
I mean, seriously though, I'm going to be really curious to see how this does in that, in that direction, because that seems what this is really ripe for. And actually with this new kind of transition into essentially being a paid for service, 50 free for the first month, 15, and it's a credit based system, by the way. So 50 free credits the first month, 15 free every month after, and then you can purchase additional credits, $15 for 115 credits. I don't think that 115 credits means 115 images. I think it breaks down less than that. But what this grants you for the first time is full usage rights. So commercialization, reprinting, selling, merchandise rights, all that stuff. So these images become really useful and perhaps very valuable for a really low cost. It's kind of crazy. Like usually you would need to hire a digital artist to do a lot of this stuff. And I have to imagine certain people in that realm are have to be worried at least a little bit about losing some business to this.
Yeah, that's you've basically created an AI graphic designer is probably a little much.
Yes.
But yeah, AI artist, AI
graphical artist. Yeah, something like that.
Illustrator. Yeah. Maybe Illustrator.
I don't think it will be a problem for that particular industry, because that industry has relationships and they tend to get their business based on their relationships and skills, not just their skills, you know?
Well, and your field destroyed the business of illustrators before photography and halftones came along to publications. When Lincoln was killed, Harper's sent illustrators down on train to Washington to draw and get back as quick as possible to draw them and etch them, and all this kind of stuff went on. And then photography came along, and boom, tons of illustrators were out of work because you and your photography folk got rid of them. So
the only place they live is in courts, like in court reporting and in fashion. Because they're still, I'm serious. Those are the two areas where you still have actual illustrators working. Bad Ant.
It's your fault, Ant.
But I mean, from a like graphic designers, I'm sitting here looking at one now.
That wasn't the right
illustrators.
word.
Illustrators.
Yeah, I'm thinking more illustrator. I mean, like.
Okay.
I mean, imagine all that silly art you have every time that, the Atlantic does another hot take. Now, right. Do that.
Right.
I think it was Nasdaq. Somebody was doing getting logos made with it, and it was pretty neat what I could do.
Yeah, I mean, is it going to absolutely replace any human whatsoever out there doing this sort of stuff? No, but there's probably a lot of people who would much rather pay the low cost of this and just accept what it churns out, as opposed to hire someone. I hate to say, but that's probably true, right? Like, I just need this image fast. There's going to
be people doing that.
I need it now.
Yeah, there'll definitely be people doing that. But if you take the likes of and this may be a bad example, take the likes of a big brand like Nike. They're probably not going to do that. They're probably going to.
Nike's not going to do it, but I would do it.
No, you're right. No.
Right.
Yeah, I would do it. Yeah, totally.
Like a little blog, or even not a super little blog, might do it, just because it's fast, it's easy, you don't have to deal with a person.
Yeah, right.
The people who are turning to a service like Fiverr to get a quick turnaround kind of digital thing made.
Exactly.
And Dotson's daughter and her soap business, right?
Right. Yeah, something along those lines, right?
Yeah, and get something pretty cool and unique.
And I want. Oh, sorry. Did I cut you off? Well, I was wondering if, as this type of thing gets built out, like we're at a point right now where we can say, Robert Redford's head as an ice cream cone. I don't know what the random thing is, that you want an image as. But you say a short sentence and it gives you something and you either like it or you don't. It's either close to what you were thinking or hoping to see, or maybe you didn't even know what you were hoping to see, but it's something along the lines of what you said and great. If this system gets built out to a point to where you can give it multiple layers of instructions, similar to what you could do with a real digital artist or a designer, and say, all right, what I'm looking for is I need a logo. It's got to be green. It kind of looks like a baseball, but it blah, 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 all this detail to the style of do. And you can go into that kind of level of detail and then get something back. Then I think digital artists and designers, they probably would have to worry about something like that, right? Because then it does get into the realm of replacing potentially.
I still disagree, because a lot of digital artists that are creating things for brands, that communication, that face-to-face communication is really, really critical because, okay, the proposed client is going to have a particular vision in mind. And sometimes it is the responsibility of the artist to say, you know what, that is a great idea. Let's shape that up. Or, you know what, maybe we should fine tune this a little bit because you're going to be able to get a little bit more reach, that kind of thing. You know, and that tends to happen way more than one would realize. You know, just because you could see a great logo in your head, that doesn't necessarily mean it's the right logo for you.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's when those artists come in.
Here's one
There's going to be no thing in DALL-E that's like, by the way, that's really insensitive to the following group of people.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah. You know, and I think about this sort of makes me think back to the handful of years ago when Adobe Sensei, its AI, started to pick up a lot of traction and putting tools inside of Photoshop and Lightroom. And a lot of the tech media was saying, oh boy, this is just going to make it to where photographers are a thing of the past because, you know, their Photoshop skills are just going to be accessible by anybody. And that's not even the case. What that did was made it easier for people like me to do those repeated tasks a lot faster because of that AI that's in there. And I think this is just sort of going to play hand in hand.
And you also, though, you could get things that inspire the illustrator to work. I put on something in the chat now for Stacy mainly, I think. Waldo Jackwith, who has access to DALL-E, put in a prompt of product photograph of the Univac wrist computer made by Sperry Rand in 1967. It's in the Twitch chat if you want the link.
The great example. Okay, I see it. I'm just moving it over to the doc if that's helpful.
Oh, sorry, I should have brought the doc.
No. I'm unable to view this tweet because this account owner limits.
Yeah, they protected the tweets.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I'm honored.
They protected their tweets. Yeah, you're privileged, Mr. Jarvis.
Wow, it's locked.
So special.
Tell us how awesome it is, Jeff.
Well, you'll just have to imagine.
You know, he's sitting there again at the beginning of the show talking about he's just so everyday, yet he's got a theme song and he's got privileged tweets right here. You know?
Well, Ant wants a theme song. Ant wants a theme song. Bad.
You already got a laminated card, Ant. Wasn't that enough? Wasn't that enough? Jeez. Well, I'm excited to use DALL-E. Who knows how far and wide it's going to go and make impact.
I don't think it's going to hurt anything myself. Just to be clear, I don't think it's going to hurt anything. It's definitely going to help a lot of people out, and it can even enhance some of the stuff that we already have in place in that particular industry, in my opinion.
I think you'll see more illustration where you otherwise wouldn't have seen it, where people are now putting up photos they don't have the rights to. I want to illustrate my silly little blog post, and this would be a wonderful way to do it.
What I don't want to see is a bunch of Bored Ape stuff. You know what I mean?
Don't worry.
No computer would make that. Only stupid males would make that.
In the style of Bored Apes. That's your addendum to any query.
There were all these little 8-bit, it was kind of funny, all over Paris on the buildings, there were just like random little 8-bit kind of drawings of different things. And I was like, I wonder what those are about. And my child, who, you know, at 15 is like, ugh, it's a bunch of tech bros and their NFTs. That was like, so that whole thing, it is destroyed. Child. It has destroyed 8-bit illustration for this person and possibly this generation. I was like,
right.
Dang. Absolutely love that.
Yeah. That's great. Hey, Stacy, tell us about Matt. What's the matter with Matter? Probably nothing's the matter with Matter, but there's at least some Matter news, and you wrote about it. So tell us a little bit about Madam A and how it's getting ready for Matter.
Yeah, so today Amazon did their big developer event for developers. For those doing, and I'm going to say the name. So if you have an Amazon Echo, this is a good time to mute it or to just be prepared for things to happen. It's called Alive, and all this basically Matter is set to come out at sometime in the fall. So we're seeing all these companies talk about like hey, we're launching this ahead of Matter. So the big news for people who like smart homes are that Amazon is setting up Alexa for what's called multi-admin. So one of the big things people are excited about with Matter is this feature called multi-admin. And that means you could have a Google and an Echo and a Siri and the app from the manufacturer. And you do things once in one of those places and they'll propagate to all of them. And then you'll be able to control your stuff from all of those places, right? Which is exciting. So Amazon said, if you name a device, whatever that name is, it will propagate everywhere, and your group names will propagate everywhere. And they released an API for that. They also announced something called the Ambient. Hold on. It's like the Ambient Home Dev Kit. I think it's the Ambient Home Dev Kit. And that is really cool because they're taking like kind of this proactive approach that they started with Hunches. So like, I don't know if y'all use Hunches. Do y'all use Hunches?
No.
If you
not in a tech standpoint. No.
Oh. So if you have an Alexa use Hunches, if you turn it on, it'll like randomly suggest things. Like it had a hunch for me one day that like, oh, you're going to bed. Do you want to add your locks to this routine, or do you want to turn on your locks?
That's cool.
Lock your door. Right. So it's proactive steps. So with this dev kit, now other developers can have their devices have Hunches too, basically. They don't call it Hunches. The only thing they have right now is the stuff that I mentioned about naming for Matter and a home and away. So the home kit, this SDK, they can be like, oh, you're away. Let's get Tara. That'll be cool. I feel like there's some other stuff, but
explain, because you wrote about this too. Okay. You wrote about this too.
Yeah. I actually wrote stuff.
Or refreshed coming back.
I was like, with Thread, they've basically Thread, if y'all aren't aware, it's a wireless low data rate mesh network that is also IP enabled. Google actually was the birthplace of Thread. Tony Fadell was like, hey, we should do Thread. And since Google had bought Nest, Google's just basically the border router it's plugged into a wall and it talks to Wi-Fi in the internet. Yes, your individual Thread devices can talk out to the internet, but it would be silly because it would suck a lot of power. So you just talk to your border router. Anyway, this update basically says, here's how border routers are going to work. Here's how you can add devices to border routers. Here's how all this primary way to get to talk to Thread, or to Thread uses TCP/IP to talk to the internet. Beforehand, you could actually opt in or out of that, and it was kind of a bit of pain. That's it. These are pretty nerdy, not exciting stories.
We're here for the nerdism. We're here for the nerding.
Yeah, they're a little nerdier than that.
Even for you?
Oh wait, you're gonna get ads on your Echo Show. As a consumer, this is what you care about. Echo Show devices, and eventually you're gonna hear them.
So basically promoted skills, like it would flash by and say, you can ping this service for blah, blah, blah. I want to install it or want to add, I don't know. I don't have an Echo device, but something along those lines. And then you could add it from there, or ads out.
Try the skill out and it's going to pop up on your Echo Show somehow, or in the app.
Yeah. If you covered this on This Week in Google in recent weeks, but that there's a possibility that somewhere in the future, that lock screen is going to turn into an ad.
We did discuss that briefly.
Ad placement. Yeah, so that kind of reminds me of that. And if when you're spending money on a device, are you okay with the possibility that part of that device is going to be used to demonstrate or to display ads, given you've paid for the device? Like I could be okay with that if I knew I was getting a deal on the device, similar to what they do with the Kindle and the kind of lower end Kindles, subsidy, that sort of thing. But
your lock screen is kind of, a lot of people put photos and stuff on it. I mean, on your phone, we've historically, when you take away my Kindle, who cares? It's not like I was using that for personalization, but on your phone, I mean, I don't know anybody who doesn't have like some sort of highly personalized something there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I don't know. Totally.
That feels different.
I don't like any idea of an ad on my lock screen, especially if it's no type of subsidy with it. This is my device that I paid for. Stop intruding on the dead screen like that. Seriously.
Yeah.
It's not even an app. It's just a terminal at that point.
Give me a way to disable. If you're going to do that, give me a way to disable. Firmly. Yeah. There was no please, I noticed.
No, there was no please.
No please.
No please from Ants.
No please at all. Just don't do it.
Pretty or otherwise, not there.
Although even when you're speaking firmly, you still got like that calm, kind of quiet voice going on.
Warmth.
Oh, he's calm.
Yeah, the warmth.
Behind
there it
that
is.
Calm. Yeah. Just send him a phone. Just do it.
Just send it. I do say thank you, at least. I just didn't say please.
Right. What about Netflix here? So Netflix continues to slide a little bit. This is the second consecutive quarter of losses. Lost 970,000 paid subs in the quarter. They expected to lose 2 million, so they didn't lose as much as they didn't do as poorly as they thought they were going to do. So I suppose that's an improvement from really bad to bad. But yeah, things are really rocky with Netflix. Netflix used to be kind of something you could count on. It was pretty stable, and now that stability is just kind of out the window. It seems like they're fighting in a few different ways.
They had to pay for all this content. They had to raise their prices by a lot. There's a lot more competition. I mean,
a lot more competition.
Stable.
There's a bit of a recession going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, isn't this the financial corner from what we talked about in the first segment with Google? It's this kind of stuff is bound to happen with the economy being as craptastic as it is right now. Right.
That's true. This isn't an essential need, streaming, and especially like you mentioned, Stacey. There are a lot of competitors out there.
There's competitors. I think that's where it is. Yeah,
I think that's largely what it is too. I mean, for the longest time, Netflix was one of the earliest to the game, largest catalog. I mean, even remember in the beginning when they started the online digital streaming, the content that they did have really wasn't that great, but the fact that they had lots of really not great content was enough for people to buy into it. Be like, well, I'm sure I can find something in here to watch.
Yeah, because they had a lot of old school gems in it, if I remember right. They had a lot of old school gems that tapped into that nostalgia side of you. Okay, this is worth the $15 a month, because isn't that what it used to cost?
Well, and it was like $7.99, and originally it was like $7.99 plus you got a DVD in the mail, so you had
that's true,
at a time.
Right?
So,
DVDs. That was such a good day coming home and opening the mailbox and finding a DVD in there in the little red package.
I don't know.
A moment of delight.
We always had like the aspirational Netflix plus the normal Netflix, and the aspirational one would just sit there and like stare at you.
So true. Maybe I should mail this back and free up that slot for something I'll actually watch. No, I'm going to watch it one of these days.
I will watch an entirely black. Oh, nope. I was saying I will watch this black and white film that is entirely in a foreign language. Yes.
I've heard that it's worth it. But am I really into it? Yeah.
Have we hit peak subscription? Right, it's 63% of all news subscriptions in the U.S. go to Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, and New York Times. Everybody else splits all the rest. There's just a ceiling on it. With so many competitors, as Stacey says, and some getting better, is there just peak? It's only so much. It's going to so big a pie that's going to get sliced up. Did they all think that they could get their pieces?
Yes and no. So here's what I think is happening. I think the consumer is gradually getting accustomed to paying more for subscription. So historically, you might be like, oh, well, I'm only going to subscribe to a couple magazines and maybe a newspaper, right? And so your subscription pie was this big. And then maybe you add Netflix. So now we have a TV chunk in there. So now your subscription pie is this big. And we're adding more, but that happens over time. So you're fighting for an ever-growing pie, but Wall Street wants you to grow, and take 100% of the growth of that pie or
bigger
whatever.
slices.
So I think what's happening is we're not tapped out exactly. We're tapped out for the products available to us, and that will probably grow slower than anybody who's trying to sell us subscriptions wants it to grow. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think only time will tell. I was thinking the other day, I still pay for HBO and Showtime. I'm waiting for Billions and Succession. I never watch anything else. I should get rid of it.
Why don't you? We buy Showtime. We buy it
dip in, dip out.
Yeah,
I got to.
You should be dipping.
I do
there's
that
lots of services.
for football season.
Dip it.
Dip it.
Is it Truebill? There's a service that'll actually monitor your subscriptions and flop it, let you, it'll just be like, hey, you're doing this. Speaking of subscriptions.
Every now and then
Google
I'll
Voice.
get a message in the family Slack that, hey, so-and-so show is coming out next week. And that's basically my hint to go and resubscribe to certain premium service, whether it's Showtime or something like that. And they will binge right through it. And they know as soon as it's over to let me know so I can turn it off, because I'm not going to keep paying for it if it's a lot of unwatched content out there,
Yeah. When Succession comes along, you must dip it. That's what you do. Dippage. Go ahead. Go ahead. Put that to the 80s
That's
song.
not financial advice, by the way.
You must dip it.
Dip it good. Okay.
Dip
Where's
it.
your flower pot
Dip
hat?
it good. Let's see here. But before we kind of veer off of the Netflix train, ad-supported tier is going to launch early 2023. So we started hearing about this very recently, and now with the earnings, we're finding out this is going to happen relatively soon. Not all of the content on the platform is going to be cleared for that ad model. It's going to cost less, of course, than the current $15.49 standard package that we have. So
Less than or free?
Well, that's a good question. I think what I read was that it's going to cost less than. I think everything that I've heard is that it's a fee, but you still get ads with it. So what is that?
That's no different from Hulu. It's the same
yeah, I
model
suppose
Hulu
so, right.
uses.
That's the
Well,
Hulu
actually,
model,
Hulu has
right?
3. They have free.
Totally free.
They have
lots of ads.
lots of ads. Oof, and no ads.
Yeah. Right.
So Microsoft is signed up, not Google, Microsoft signed up with Netflix to be their ad partner.
That's because Google YouTube is competing with Netflix. And why would you help enrich your
Well,
competitor?
they were in the negotiations.
Well, no, I know. But I mean, surely
Google's
that
everywhere.
factored against them.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that got me thinking is this plan. Password sharing is another thing that we've been hearing from Netflix for the longest time. They were okay with it. Hey, we don't care if you share passwords, and then suddenly they care a lot. Now they're testing share. Hey, you know what? Times change, I suppose. It seems like a pretty obvious boogeyman. If you're losing money, to say, hey, maybe we shouldn't be allowing you to share your passwords after all. So I get it. They're testing charging users in Latin America with an extra fee when sharing passwords outside of the primary residence. What this got me thinking is, I've stayed in enough Airbnbs and hotels to realize, now, when you go to a place, it's like there's a Netflix app installed and it's like log in with your account. I wonder how this is going to affect that. That would be interesting. Am I going to have to start paying for doing that?
Hulu already does this. Experienced this with the hardhead because he's on my Hulu plan or what have you, and he went off to college that's umpteen hours away, and it was like, no, you can't do this. So he ended up having to create his own account because the home zip code was not close enough to his geographic location.
Oh.
Hey, y'all, I
Hulu's
have to
been
tell
doing
you,
that
I have
for
to
a
correct
while.
it. Hulu doesn't have a free plan anymore. We're old. So they only have an ad-supported plan and a non-ad-supported plan. Oh, my God. And they also have basically cable. Good Lord.
Yeah. It's a lot of stuff in their package offerings. At one time, I was paying for the live TV version without ads, plus a couple add-on things. And then I just started cutting stuff out. And now I basically just pay for their, what is it? It's just the ad-free plan. It's not live. It's just ad-free. So I pay for that. But then in August, I will re-up and go back to the live TV because that's when football starts.
Oh, and they have ESPN. So you can add ESPN for $7 a month.
Yeah. And then they have the little package with Disney Plus because, I get Disney Plus for some kind of discount as well. Disney Plus and ESPN Plus. There's a lot of stuff in
This is two new businesses for Ant. I want him to be my customer service representative on my side, and I want him to be my entertainment concierge.
Concierge.
Dipping me in and dipping me out.
Yeah.
And
hey, if you ain't watching it, cut it
service.
off.
Yeah.
That's
I think
just how it
this
goes.
is it, Stan. Yeah.
If you're not watching it, just cut it off.
That's true. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to pay for it if you're not watching it. Absolutely. And I mean, and the system is designed to be friendly to your ability to cancel it and then re-up. Like if it was like the old, satellite, like when we got DirecTV, it's like you sign up for the whole year. You could just drop in for the month or whatever. Oh. That's one of my favorite things about these streaming services. Like I don't have to pay, when the Olympics comes around, that's when I pay for the entire month for YouTube TV, watch all the Olympics, and then I don't need it anymore, So nice that you can.
Cable used to do that too. Time Warner Cable used to do that to us with the whole annual package or what have you, and I'd have to opt out of that. It's like, no, let me stay month to month. And I would call them at the same time each year. Okay, you can go ahead and kill this now. Yeah, because we'll just
and you'd have to actually call, like. Yeah, you know what I mean? You'd have to actually jump through some hoops to make that happen.
And
now
then
it's
they
just
want
like
to
you open up the app and you go, boop.
They'll want to play chicken with you and then offer you another free month and this and that. And that usually keeps people on, but I'm Aunt Pruitt. Right. No, I know what I want.
Well,
I know what I want, and I don't say please.
I know what I want.
And I don't say please.
Unless it's to mom.
In California, it's actually very nice for y'all because there's a state law that says if you can sign up on the web, you have to be able to cancel on the web.
Yes, that's right.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everywhere should have this. Like when I wanted to cancel the Wall Street Journal, I had to call and it was such a pain in the butt. And I was like, God, if I only lived in California, because they're like, I'm like, I would like to cancel. You click on the thing and they're like, call unless you're in the state of California, then click through here.
Oh, but you clicked it anyways, right? Just to see.
I clicked it to see, and then I was like, oh man, I need a VPN.
Yeah, right. I wonder if that would have solved the problem right there.
Right.
Probably not, but yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. We're only gonna give you the customer friendly solution if we are required by law. Anywhere that we're not required by law, we're gonna inflict pain upon you.
Yeah, we're gonna.
That is the way the world works. Unfortunately,
unfortunately it is, but it's dumb. It's dumb that it works like 100%. That. Qualcomm.
Can we do cats? I'm dying for some
okay,
cats.
Fine. Let's do cats. All right. From Qualcomm to cats. Tell us about
the musical,
cats.
Ant. Relax, Ant. Don't go away. It's not the musical.
Oh,
We're
okay.
not doing
All right,
cats.
Good. I'm sticking around then.
Memories. We're not doing that, Ant.
All alone in the moonlight.
So what are we talking about? The
talking about
Stray?
Line 67, Stray. So last week, Stacey, you missed this. I realized that I should play some games since Mist, and I was looking for recommended games to get a sense of it because there's a book you might really enjoy, Stacey, called Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow.
It's on my holds list.
It's good. It's good. It's very good. I got all excited, but it's not available on what I play with. But only one's enthused. Cats are. Cats are watching Stray, and the people are capturing lots of nice little videos. We have some there on that story.
Oh, really?
67,
I think.
67. I know this is more complicated when we can't just go to Leo's machine.
67.
But if you guys could go to that one, it's fun stuff. I should have warned you. Okay, so yes, if you scroll down a bit, you'll find a few examples of cats. There's one right there. So you see the silhouette of the cat watching the cats and hearing the meows. There's another better one.
I didn't know this game was only $30.
No, they want to meet their cat friends.
Or the cat's trying to kill the cat, which may be the case.
Yeah. Although if your cat has claws and tries to do the paw thing at the screen,
you know, be good for it.
Might not be good for the screen. Just saying, you might end up with some scratches. Right. So you might, just be careful. That's all I'm saying. It does look like a really cool game, though. I have to say, I'm very intrigued by it.
I didn't even. Again, I didn't know it was a $30 game. I thought it was going to be some expensive game. I may look at this. I just have to reinstall.
Who are you, Moneybags?
No, clearly.
Well, I wanted to play it, and I got to buy it. How much does it cost to buy a PlayStation? Jeez.
Oh,
yeah. Is it PlayStation 5?
A lot. Like 500.
The GPU shortage is over. You should be able to find one easily.
That's true. Now that the crypto boys have run away.
Since I'm one of 2 Windows people in the whole Twitch studio, I'm fortunate to be able to play Steam on my computer.
God, big board. On Steam, and every time I do it, I'm like, okay, it's a process.
Oh yeah,
but you're buying it for your brother. It's probably a lot simpler for him. He just goes to the library and hit buy, done.
Well, that's what I'm like. I will give you money. Here's a check.
Cash.
Use it towards this. But then, then I'm like, did you ever get that game? He's like, oh no, I used it for gas. And I'm like, ugh.
It went into the gas tank, went into a burrito or 3. Yeah. That's how it is with my boys, actually.
Yeah. In and out is way cheaper than gas.
Yeah, I remember that age. Priorities. Yeah. Gas money takes a back seat to burgers. Let's be real.
Well, speaking of food,
yeah.
You want to do a TikTok?
Do you think it's anything other than a democracy, Jeff? But
I know. No, it's a revolution. 112. Now the problem is John may get mad at me because there will be some editing afterwards because he does come up with some words once in a while.
Oh, John doesn't do the editing. He's going to be all right.
Be John is mad at you.
Well, he defends the editors. He speaks on their behalf. So this guy is a monotone, growly chef, and he reacts to TikTok cooking videos. You got to listen to him.
Oh, I watch him. He's cranky.
He's great.
He's Jeff as a chef.
Why? Burger. Now we're going to take half a cup of milk, half a cup of water, 1 cup of flour, and an egg. Now we're going to whisk all this together and make our batter. You want it nice.
Not impressed.
Like that.
He had me at the side.
Oh, is this the salmonella gloves lady? Place them in the center of a saran wrap. Flatten that out. Now we're going to take this and cover in some batter. You want to make sure it's completely covered. Yeah. Place this on top of no, why? The rest of our fries. What the actual? Yeah, make sure you fill in the gaps. Now we want to take our saran wrap and fold it over. Do the same thing.
I'd like to see him make one of these.
She just loves making things in the shape of buns. Together nicely. There we go. Now I just want to try.
Really easy to criticize from the sidelines.
Ladle.
Yes.
Nice and slow. There we go. See how that's nice and brown there? Yeah, sure. All around. Just want to let that drip.
I don't know. I feel like he could be a lot more critical than he's being. I feel like he's holding back.
I'm back. Burger. Burger, cheese.
So if you go to his list,
there it was.
For something that's inevitably going to look like she's being super delicate with this. She seems nice, but...
Sorry, live stream.
I'm going to get straighter on this video.
Yeah, he is not safe for work.
Why?
No, he's not.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
He's hilarious. Because some of these recipes are just awful. And he'll say at the end, 3 out of 10. I'd eat it.
I'd eat it.
I'd eat it.
Yeah, of course. Who cares?
He's positive about he's got the lunch offs, which I think is actually kind of a fun TikTok trend where you talk, the lunch offs where people who I think it's probably people who work in like construction and stuff. They're like, what did my wife or what did I pack for lunch today? And they all like show off their lunches. Pretty keen on those. Just like, oh my God, something on TikTok I haven't seen.
Yeah, I know.
Better search that right now.
Jeff, so if I say the phrase, he's an 8, but, and I don't have any clever thing, but would you be like right there with me?
For him? What?
No. Okay, now I have to do it. Let's see. He's an 8, but his online tech shows go on for 3.5 hours. What is he?
Got it.
Then he's a 6 in my book.
Whoa. We all just got demoted.
Well, we better not make this a 4-hour show then.
Please no.
Don't worry. I got you. Are we excited about wearables at this point? Are we, kind of what's going on?
This is good for the show, actually.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
This is good. You know why? Because the whole thing that makes Android Wear OS, why Android Wear OS sucks so badly is because Qualcomm has not delivered good silicon. So Apple's like pumping out these amazing chips going into the watch, and Android watches are still like 800 pounds, this thick, and if you don't have wrists the size of like ants.
They're perfect for me. I just don't own one, but they're perfect for me.
Yeah. So Qualcomm has finally said, and they said this, and you can tell Qualcomm knows they're coming from way behind here because like on the call I did with this guy, he mentioned that this was entirely new, entirely redesigned chip for the brand new Snapdragon Wear 5 platform is what it is. And there's the Plus, and then there's a smaller one for like kids wearables. Big things. If you're a chip nerd, they're moving from 12 nanometers all the way down to 4 nanometers for this, which is a big deal.
That's huge.
Cool.
Yeah. And that's going to help you so much with battery life and size. The other thing they're doing, and this I'm really excited about, is they put a lot into ambient mode. So, like Forever Go, and if you get my newsletter, you'll read about it this week. We're moving from like sleep and wake mode to a third liminal state we're calling ambient mode. And in ambient mode, you're basically going to have your sensors, and they're going to be always on sensing stuff, and then they'll wake up the processor, right? So this is going to save on battery life. Qualcomm is putting audio playback, notifications, always on wake word detection, and a tiny little GPU on their always on processor for their ambient stuff, which means you can do all that stuff without like waking up the main processor for battery. So that's going to be great too, because like the Google Android Wear stuff was always so laggy. And so now they can have a really good processor, but it won't be stuck in your battery life the whole time.
Yeah, they said 50% longer battery life compared to their previous iteration, the Wear 4100 Plus and 4100. So,
yeah, I have. Do you want the battery stats? I actually have them right here. Let's see. This all depends on what you do on it, but for just a Bluetooth fashion watch, they're saying it's going to be about 43 hours of battery life.
Oh, all the way up bad.
Yeah, well, that's not LTE. An LTE watch is going to get you 54 hours, and then a tracking sport watch will get you 3 days. But that's with like double the battery than the Bluetooth watch. It's a 600 milliamps battery.
That's impressive.
That is.
But yeah, we'll see. Their battery, but if you can get through like a day or two for like an LTE watch, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I just want to get through the day and have plenty left over by the time I put it on the charger at night so that I'm not cutting it close and having that like battery panic mode, like, am I going to make it to the charger by the end of the day? After all. Yeah, it is your watch. And, so that's going to help. If it truly is that much longer of a battery life, I think that's a really big win. Knowing that it's smaller, that's excellent. I think the one thing, and I talked about this a little bit last night on All About Android, is that the 4100 and the 4100 Plus, like when those came out, it was like, finally, Android Wear gets its long-awaited update, which it had been forever since Qualcomm had updated the processors that were in watches at that time. This was, a year and a half ago, let's say, off the top of my head. And so they did the 4100 and the 4100 Plus, and then hardly any watches were launched with it. So even though Snapdragon had done this, big transformation of their wearable processor, no one was using it. So I really hope that we actually see some output, some utilization of this chip on newer watches, so that we see some.
And I asked them about that, and that's why, like that block diagram I threw in there, everything on there is new. They were like, no, they didn't directly say this, that nobody wanted to use it because it wasn't compelling enough. But basically, they got the message, and they were like, we're ripping everything out. And so everything's replaced. The smaller, going down the process node with the 4 nanometers is going to really help too. So the first watch will be out in August. It's going to be an Oppo watch. And then the first Android, that's just the first watch using this. The first Wear OS watch is going to be Mobvoi, and it's going to come out later this year.
Yeah, the TicWatch. We'll have that W5 Plus Gen 1. Prior to that, the Oppo Watch 3, which is going to be a modified AOSP watch. So like you said, not running Wear OS, but still, a watch and still be able to benefit from all the changes.
Smartwatches?
No.
Just the little.
I'm not either.
The little exercise thing, but it's not smartwatch. No.
I mean, I had one long ago, and I'm not lusting after it. I'm just not.
Yeah, I'm not missing it when I don't have it on my wrist. To be honest,
I would like to have audio playback on mine. Like, I don't think the Charge 5 does audio playback. Well,
when you say that, do you mean like to Bluetooth?
No, I mean actual audio playback. Like, I want to stream Spotify because I don't want to bring my, like, when I go out for a run, it's less so here because I can, it's colder here, so I have pockets. But like beforehand, when I was in Texas, you don't want to strap a smartwatch on or a phone to your arm. Like, this thing right
whatever
here.
Whatever it's called, yeah.
So you want your watch to have always connected ability, be able to stream from Spotify, but connect to your Bluetooth headphones that you're wearing when you're out for a run. And so you're just wearing your watch and your Bluetooth headphones, and that's it.
Right.
That's
what I want. Yeah, and that's only when I'm out for a run. The rest of the time, I can talk to my phone. I don't need to be a tiny ass phone on my.
But is that even possible?
Yes, you could have an LTE watch that streams Spotify to your Bluetooth headsets on a watch. Yeah, I think the Apple Watch does that, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think the Galaxy Watch 4 can do that if you've got an LTE chip inside of it. So yeah, there are watches that allow you to do that, but that is nice to not have to bring the phone with you, not have that tether.
Did we notice Stacy's very, very subtle, nuanced sneak there of a bite of something?
It's ginger candy. I that like
it was. It's too late. It's going to the mouth.
I was like, oh crap! I bet I'm on the screen. I am.
You never know that Benito keeps you on your toes.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah,
switches to your camera right when you're eating the ginger. We should give some props to fellow Twit, Renee Ritchie.
Yeah.
He now works for the Goog. He works for YouTube. He was hired by YouTube to be their second ever creator liaison. So he's going to be working. He's still going to continue doing his YouTube channel.
Oh, cool.
So that's not going anywhere. He really wants to, from the article that I read, I haven't talked to him, but he says that he wants to stay connected and close to the, to the creator lifestyle, to what it takes to be a creator, to create and actively do that on a regular basis. But he's also going to be working with YouTube to be kind of a liaison between other creators and, inform them on how to do YouTube right, all the different facets of YouTube, that sort of stuff. So big time congratulations to Renee Ritchie.
Smart hire by YouTube.
Very smart hire.
He's done a heck of a job.
Yeah.
Like Danny Sullivan at Google search, you need your Matt cuts to have people have faith in. Speaking of which, has Matt been on one of the shows lately?
Not in a while.
No, I reach out to him every once in a while, and it just hasn't worked out. He is genuinely interested, but yeah, it hasn't worked out yet. I keep trying, so I will keep it up. We'll get Matt back one of these days.
I've been the recipient of a Jason email that says, "Hey, you said no a lot of times to being on this show. Maybe it's just not a good time for us. Maybe we should stop bugging you."
Well, when I hear it interpreted like that,
wow, it's true. I love it. I'm like,
red.
No, it's so nice. It's like,
I mean, as a person who is booking lots of people on a lot of different shows, like the last thing I want is to continue contacting someone who is like, you know what, my life is really busy right now. Like, I appreciate it, but it's at a certain point, it's kind of like, okay, I'll save you the trouble. I'll save me the trouble. Is there a time down the line where I can get in touch with you and maybe you'll be interested again, or your life will be a little bit easier? So hopefully it comes across like that.
No, it totally does. I actually stole your thing. I stole your wording for my own, like, hey, I don't want to keep bothering you. So
yeah. So just let me know, yes or no. It's cool. If you can't do it, that's fine too. I don't want you to feel like, you have to do it. So yeah, totally. Well, cool.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to embarrass you, Jason.
No,
I was like,
that's okay. I'm just happy that it was interpreted well and not like, geez, he's just nagging me to like come on all the time.
No, it's so good that like I, who don't feel well with humans, stole it. I was like, oh, this is a good way to deal with people. I like it.
Yeah, there we go. Right on. Cool. I'm happy that was helpful for you. Let's see here. We've got lots of random stuff, but I feel like it's all really good stuff to talk about. What about the FCC chair? Okay, they the FCC proposed new U.S. broadband standards for the U.S., long overdue in many people's opinions. What is it? 100 megabits per second up, 20 megabits per second down. Is that
flip that
opposite?
Oh, is it? Oh,
20,
sorry.
20 up,
yeah.
100 down.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We're still consumers more than creators.
Yes. Fair enough. What do you think? If this were implemented, is this enough?
No, but it's way. Basically, the FCC is like. I want to say they did the other standard of 25.3. That was like
25.3
years ago.
Yeah, that was Ajit Pai,
right? Yeah, it was Ajit Pai, and at the time when they did it, we were all like, it should be 125. That's what everybody who was in the world, like the tech world, people who were seeing the future of the internet, that's what we all said. So like all the way back in 2015, we were like, you need like 100 megs down. So 7 years later, we're here. That feels like the FCC's speed, in all honesty. I mean, when we got 25.3, we were moving up from like 7 something. I mean, it was really like
it was
bad. DSL. It
was bad.
And the reason it matters isn't for like the 90% of us. It is for things like federal broadband rules. It's for things like the Internet Essentials plan. So, the FCC and various ISPs have plans for like people who can't afford internet.
Low income.
This will set the baseline for those programs, both formally and informally. And then it also helps megabits per second up. It's going to be hard for satellite, even SpaceX.
So like now, what do they run now?
I don't know where they're up. Starlink, right?
Yeah.
Starlink 50 to 20.
And then like 3 or 4 up. Yeah.
I'm sorry, up.
Yeah. Premium services start 500. I don't know. I don't think that it's synchronous.
Because with satellite, X number of like channels that you can send your data over, right? Like X number of lanes. So that's it makes sense, but that's where you get like
an FCC or FTC standard for claims of high-speed hotel internet. It's 2.5 years, but maybe they've improved, but I doubt it.
Yeah, their ultra plans are at.
Yeah, they're not going to let you stream Netflix for very long, most of them. But I've actually been recording podcasts. I haven't done Twig from a hotel because I'm not. It's like, oh no. But they're actually pretty good. I've been doing Google Meets and Zooms and whatnot. So
maybe the
necessity.
Hotels, I don't know.
Maybe it depends on the hotel.
Yeah,
I stay here.
I'll be honest, I'm
resort.
fancy. I resorted up.
Right. Yeah, and it's like $50 and up per day for those quote unquote resort fees. It's ridiculous.
The FTC is looking at those pricing. They're looking at that right now. Be encouraged. The FCC also did something, Rosenworcel, in addition to broadband speeds, are people offering mobile services, including the big four or the big three and Charter and Comcast and Google and Mint. And that said, hey, I would like to know how you're dealing with location data. we hopefully will get some information about how that's being handled. And
is this Roe related directly, or?
I was about to say, not that I'm excited that we took away the right to abortion, but it is forcing the tech industry, lawmakers, and everyone to understand the data brokerage industry in ways that, I would like to have not given up my rights for, but,
And for something, somewhat of a silver lining anyways.
Miss Stacy, can we go back to the first part of this segment here? You said it's enough. Why?
Yeah, but that's because I'm a giant broadband nerd. For many people, it will be enough.
Yeah.
But if you think about AKTV streaming, which does exist.
Are we going to assume the people that are on, say, the low income internet plan?
See the internet bifurcate by levels of income more than it already has, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that's call me a utopian person. But anyway, the point is, I know, me and my high hopes and naivete. The point is, you can, like a family of 4, like, what's your internet speed, Ant?
It's not 100 megs, but I'm greedy.
Is it? Well, yeah, but you're probably also, if you're doing actually sending photography files, good Lord.
Yeah, lots of data back and forth. 500 megabits down was okay, but it wasn't up to my standard, I guess. So I had to bump it up because everybody's in the house with remote schooling and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think
if it wasn't for remote schooling, I probably would have been okay with 500 down, but definitely not with remote schooling coming into place the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and not that you want to set policy based on this, but if you think about the data requirements of something like the metaverse, and I know we're, I don't know what that's going to look like, but even things like telemedicine and like needing always on data. And what I really would like to see is the FCC talk about things like resiliency programs and then the quality of service you get. And
should caps go away as well?
Okay,
do you think caps should go away?
I have never thought caps made sense. They don't.
Okay.
I've
because I remember the argument. I remember the argument several years ago. The what do you call them? The vendors would say, we're trying to protect our network and keep it stabilized, yada yada yada.
These greedy people,
right? So, but then when the pandemic hit, when everybody was at home and everybody was doing remote work or remote school, you didn't hear one thing about the stability of the internet. You actually heard those vendors say, you know what, we're going to give you a little more data, blah, 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 out of goodwill. And I'm sure everybody got their allotment and then some, and there was no problems with the internet stability then. So why even have those? Why not have the government come in and say, look, you need to stop all this. This is bad practice.
Oh, well, okay. So the carriers want, or the ISPs want a scarcity model for broadband. They always have. They have never, like, Intel wants a bigger pie model, right, for selling chips. They want more chips, more places, more stuff that uses their network. ISPs hate that because they can't make money off the stuff going over their pipes. They only get to make money on having the pipe available to people. So by creating a scarcity model, they at least make more money the more you consume. That's all that is. There's no, the additional costs associated with the network are not commensurate with the additional costs of charging per gigabyte on a data cap, if that makes sense. They're completely divorced from reality. And this wouldn't be a problem except we don't have competitive broadband in the US. And if we had competitive broadband, then you would go to a place that offers you good broadband and no caps, because the internet should be something, it's like water. It should just, water is a terrible example because we're going to run out, but.
It's information. Everyone should have access to information is what it sounds like you're saying.
Yeah, and the services, because they're essential for being alive today. Some countries have named the internet and broadband internet as a basic right, as like a human right, and all the power that entails. We have not, but we should. You can't get a job today without the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally agree. Okay. What about, let's see here. Are there, we need to do the changelog.
I guess we don't.
How soon we forget.
Do you wanna?
Dang,
do you wanna?
Flying.
I know, it is. Let's do the changelog. Sound the horns.
Do it.
Let's get in there. It's time. Don't panic. Here it comes. I promise you. Here come the horns. Prepare yourself. There we go.
There we go.
They stubbed out their cigarettes and came in to pick up their horns.
Sometimes you gotta assemble the band, the orchestra. Like, fine, I'll play your stupid song.
That was good.
Thanks. Google Meet apparently adding, according to 9 to 5 Google, adding support for anonymous questions and poll responses. So you can run a poll out of your Google Meet. That's kind of neat. I wonder how quick it is to spin up something like this. I guess you can already create polls in Google Docs or in Drive, rather. But now you'll be able to integrate them into a Google Meet. Take the temperature of the room.
You know what? When I give talks on Zoom or whatever, and the organizers will excitedly say, "We could do a poll," and I say, "No, we're not."
I mean, is that a complexity?
I love
thing?
polls.
It's kind of like we could, but that's too much can go wrong. Or what is that?
Stacey, you love data too, so duh.
I like understanding my audience and what they want. Like if I'm going to talk about like I often ask people like, who has a smart assistant? You know, who's using these services? And sometimes people are like, no one raises their hand, and then we're like, okay, revamp my talk to a different level.
Yeah. In my experience with polls, it's usually I don't ask the right question because people will complain about the questions that are on said poll. I just give up.
And sometimes you find out something really fascinating. Like I actually was doing a thing about like privacy and smart devices. And I was like, how many of y'all have a baby monitor, you know, or have kids and have a baby monitor? And a bunch of people raised their hand. And I was like, so how old do you think your kid will be? Lower your hand if you're going to stop it when your baby is like 1. Nobody really lowered their hand. And I'm like 2. Bunch of people lowered their hands. 3, etc. We had people like when I was like 7 and 8. There's like a few people who are like
still holding it up.
18.
And we're all like. And so then we had like a really interesting conversation because it really. I mean, so I don't know.
That's cool. Okay, that's.
I love everything though, and Jeff, you hate everything.
Look at his face.
The perfect combo.
Face.
Jeff, how do you feel about this rebrand to Google Wallet? You know, we've been through many iterations to get here. Who knows if this is the final destination, but nonetheless, we're here right now. What do you think?
It's another Google branding mess. I don't care.
Mess.
Do you care?
Yeah.
I don't care.
What is different about it? I just got the email and I'm like, what?
I mean, as far as I can tell, it's kind of about the same. It's just now, you know, first it was Google Wallet, then it was Android Pay, then it was Google Pay, then it was Google Pay with Tez. Remember Tez? That was the thing.
That's right.
Then it's, you know, now it's back to Google Wallet. But if you're in a store and you're paying, it's still Android Pay when you're, or Google Pay. No, it's Apple Pay. It's still. Yeah,
that's true. The second I pull out my phone, they're like, "Oh yeah, we have Apple Pay." And I'm like,
"Yeah, we have Apple Pay." Yes, totally.
Yeah, right.
And you just kind of go along with it. You're like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah.
Beep. Yeah. So it's just confusing more than anything. That
I don't even see Wallet on my phone. I have GPay.
Yeah, that's it.
That'll change.
That's it.
That'll change.
That'll be Wallet now.
Starting to roll out.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It's starting to roll out. So your GPay is going to turn into Google Wallet essentially. And I think, you know, they've even updated the app. So you're going to get some Material You and dynamic theming if you care about that. I don't know about dark mode, Jeff, but there you go. So
I still have GPay for now.
Do you? Yeah, I still have GPay as well. I have not got the update.
But it matters not because that phone is going bye-bye anyway.
It matters.
Yeah, maybe your new one.
Because I can't put my credit card on it.
Still?
You can't put. Oh, really?
My credit card still doesn't go on it. Yeah. No.
Oh.
Have you tried lately? Because I had the same problem and then it got better.
Really?
It's got to be the bank, right?
Yeah, it's the bank. Oh, so can we just do a slight detour here, a Jeff complaint moment? So trying to get Jeff to play games, trying to make me a happier person. So the recommendation was made to use Stadia because I've got my Chromebook, right?
Oh, yeah.
So guess what happens?
Did they kill your subscription?
Can't use it appears because I have a workspace.
G Suite, workspace.
Oh, yeah, you got in there right at the tail end of that, Stacey. You got it. I'll give you points.
I saw where this was going.
sad trombone sound. Yes, you're right, Ant. Jeez.
Rears his ugly head again.
Recommendations in the Club Twit Discord last week for you, Mr. Jarvis. I don't know if you're able to look back at that, but a lot of people were sharing.
Yeah, they were, and I was looking forward to trying some of these things, and then I got some good recommendations on Stadia. There's one I wanted to play, so I couldn't figure it out. While we were on the show, I brought out another Chromebook, and I signed on to a different account, to a Gmail account I never use. And sure enough, go right into Stadia. So I presume that's what it is.
Son of a...
It doesn't say, sorry, schmuck, you can't do this. It just gives you a 403. It'd be better if it said, sorry, schmuck, then I'd know what's going on. Right. But no, I've got to figure it out for myself. Google! Thank you for this little... I needed to get this off my chest.
I love those rants.
It's just the gift that keeps on giving.
Exactly.
Yes.
Jeez,
I should clarify really quick.
First.
I should clarify. Scooter X pointed out and corrected me in the chat room. Google Wallet is a separate install. So GPay you could still have on your device. And then you also have to install Google Wallet, which I don't know if that's any better
what's the difference?
What?
What does one do to the other? Okay, now tell me what each does.
For heck,
yeah, no. It's a really great question.
Scooter X, what does one do versus the other one? Now I'm confused.
I mean, Google Wallet is supposed to be where you keep all of your
everything, right?
Everything, your card. That's where GPay operates out of. Is supposed to operate out of. You keep your COVID card. Your what is it?
E-tickets.
Your e-tickets, your loyalty cards, all that stuff is supposed to be held in your wallet, the Google Wallet, right? GPay was the place where stuff like that was kept, right? Now, my understanding is that GPay is going to continue being a money management app, because you know how Google also kind of created that as part of GPay. Like, also, we're kind of like Mint. We analyze what you do and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I need to dump that and get Wallet.
Play.
Yeah, you can dump
Play
that.
for Google Wallet. Guess what comes up? Google Pay.
Google Pay for now.
For now.
Yeah, for now. There's a link that Scooter X
I need to plan on the migration then. I guess that's what it is. Because I keep stuff in that GPay thing. It's freaking useful for
credit cards. Well, and isn't it also where you put your plane tickets and stuff?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like my airline stuff's there. The tickets that I buy for venues or events or whatever, that they're in there. That it's useful. And then of course the tap to pay is already there too.
So confusing though.
Stacey, I think you're right.
Good old leadership at Google. Outstanding leadership at Google.
So
no focus.
Well,
trying to set a screen.
Your bank is not liking you? Who's your bank?
No, now it's apparently saying, okay, now I've got to set a screen lock. I have a screen lock.
Oh my God. We cannot.
Sure you do. Sure you do.
Choose a new screen lock. Why?
This is when you're supposed to call in on Saturdays or Sundays.
Because you're going to have your credit card on this thing. So it wants...
But I have my finger. That's my screen lock, is the fingerprint, the thing.
Oh, well, it asks you if you want to enable biometrics. Just say yes.
It doesn't say that, no. No, it doesn't say that.
Oh, boy.
None, swipe, pattern, pin, password.
Somebody threw up the twit bug so the tech guy can reach out to Mr. Laporte, Mr. Jarvis here.
When Leo Laporte returns from his cruise, he will don his tech guy cap and get in touch with you and see if he can troubleshoot.
Okay, you stupid person.
You know what?
All right.
We should just
start
have
from the beginning.
Jeff has tech problems, and then that could just be a whole show.
Tech has Jeff problems.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Good reframing.
There we go.
That's what it is right there. Google Docs getting some notifications that will alert you when there are additions or removals, so you can be notified essentially if someone makes a change into the doc. I kind of feel like that seems like
that already
something
happened.
that
Time I turned a story into an editor, I'd get like 8 million, and I'm like, Jesus, no.
Every once in a while, someone will make a comment in a doc, and I definitely get an email that says, well, this says, so these are notification settings. So maybe it's kind of expanded around. Maybe that's the chain. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the change is.
That was already there.
Thought so too.
Those things sound like All right, next.
Go home, Google. Right. You're drunk.
Wah, wah. I mean, it's some sort of change, but appeal process down to 7 days from 30. So
does that matter for you guys?
It's a good question. I mean,
hasn't mattered for me because whenever I appeal something, it's been pretty quick with the
I do feel like podcasts after like a week and a half, they're kind of history.
Fish wrap.
Yeah. I hate to say podcasts that deal with news. It's kind of like in the past, and everybody who's going to see
much that want to hang out with you, they will listen to back episodes.
They will go back in time.
Sorry,
we love you.
Yeah,
well, we love you.
At least we continue entertaining you. It's nice to know that we can do that. Let's see here. Google Photos. Oh, so if you ever take screenshots and they end up in your Google Photos photo reel, now Google Photos is going to help you find those, and I guess you can delete them or get rid of them. Or so you touch and hold the app, then lift your finger. The app has shortcuts, you'll get a little that has a view screenshots bloop thing. So yeah, that's okay. So it's basically on the icon on your home screen. If you touch and hold the icon, you know how you get that little menu that pops up. If you ever use that feature, maybe you don't use that feature. I don't really use it very often, but if you do, you'll be able to jump right to your screenshots, and I suppose that's neat.
Now, next, here's the story of the week.
Here's the story of the week. Chrome OS
branding.
Yeah, they just removed the space.
Spaces are dead.
And I bet they did not consult DALL-E GPT-3.
I do love playing with, by the way.
See, you're going to like DALL-E too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't say I wouldn't. It's Ant who's...
Oh. Wait a minute, I said what?
It's Ant who's punditries who don't know what they're talking about. We're just going to be done in the style of Walter Cronkite. Go.
Oh, boy.
Done in the style of
love
The
to see
View.
that, actually.
Oh, gosh. The View.
So it's now Chrome OS, not Chrome.
Chromos.
OS.
Chromos.
Okay,
it was Chrome
OS. More time than it deserves.
Okay.
Move it right
All
along.
right. All right, fine. That's the Google changelog. Roll the credits. There we go.
Jason, I had faith that you would keep this show on.
But, what can I say? How about we get to pick
one waffle?
I understand you want to get to your waffle. I'll get you there.
No, we haven't gone over the 3-hour mark. So I'm still, we're at what,
we're doing
2.5?
good.
We're not
we're at this point, we're at 2. We started 2 hours ago. So we're doing okay.
Yeah, so we're doing okay.
Okay, so is there anything that we've missed before we get into picks, tips, tricks, all that kind of stuff that y'all want to talk about?
Stacey and I are excited about the same story.
Oh, yeah, the same
battery. Tell us about it.
I don't know about it. I saw the sand battery and I was excited.
So there are all kinds of efforts to try to store energy, obviously, and ways. My friend Bill Gross from Idea Lab has one we've talked about in the show of moving concrete blocks up and down. You move them up, and then when you want the energy, you move them back down. And the way Bill explains it is that the way this was primarily done was moving water up into reservoirs, and every possible place on Earth, fewer now that we have less water, had been used. So we went to blocks. So now these entrepreneurs say that sand holds on to heat for an amazingly long time. So they create basically just a silo of sand, and they heat it, and it'll keep it over days. And you'd think, well, that's a lot of energy wasted. You heat up the sand, and then the sand through an exchanger goes reverse. But they say, no, it actually holds on to the heat for quite some time and has a minimal loss along the way. So I found sand batteries fascinating. That was it.
That is fascinating.
And an amazing thing.
And we need progression or innovation in the realm of battery technology.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, big time. So it was always right beneath our feet, and we had no idea. Sand battery.
We could watch Emmanuel the Emu on TikTok.
No.
Jeez, no.
Stop.
Excuse me. I did have one. Line 59, the Tesla AI boss. How about that?
50,
is that good
what
news?
is it?
Line 59? Line 59, Tesla AI boss.
You took us back to Tesla. Okay. All right. Go.
Well, the AI boss was on leave for several months, I believe, but now they have resigned from Tesla because there's been fatalities with the autopilot and so forth. So with this lead gone, is that good news or is that bad news for Tesla?
Bad news for Tesla.
I'd say that's bad news. That doesn't sound good to me.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting rid of the leadership and ready to bring in someone else. Is this something that Tesla's
about face on autopilot?
No, they got because somebody has an ego at the top of that food chain.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about that other than that. Yeah, that seems like definitely a big reason for things to slow down at the very least. You know, if you don't have the visionary at the top, needs to from a productivity standpoint. But yeah,
I wonder how important it is that feature. I wonder how important it is for people that are potential Tesla buyers. Are people buying Teslas strictly because they want the EV, or are they buying it because they want the status and the bells and whistles? Or, you know, what is their
what do you think
petroleum standpoint? But then you have people that want to buy the BMW for the first from an engineering standpoint. What is it like for the Tesla crowd? I don't know. I mean, I just see them everywhere over here.
Yeah, and you're going to see more of them. I mean, with all of the energy stuff in flux. I mean, Tesla has been increasing the prices of their vehicles in the past couple of months because demand has been so high. I feel like in a couple of months,
I didn't know that. Wow.
Oh yeah, because of gas.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it's largely about that. I should also mention that we are on the waiting list. We're waiting for the Tesla Model Y. My wife really wanted to get a Tesla. We got solar on the house. What's that?
My neighbor has a Y.
Yeah, I mean, I actually fit in the Y, which is one thing. I don't fit in a lot of vehicles because I'm so tall, and the Y has the kind of taller cab.
The dome.
So we test drove a lot of electric vehicles, and at the end of the day, it was like, you know what, this fits us better because my wife's also very tall. We got solar on our house about a year ago with the expressed intent of someday getting an electric vehicle, and so before the prices started jumping, we were like, let's just put the order in. We're still having to wait until November, somewhere between November to January, and we put our order in probably 2.5, almost 3 months ago.
You don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but this was a decision you all made because you just wanted something that's more economical, not because of the autopilot potential, right?
Oh yeah, we did not pay extra for the autopilot. If we had paid extra for the autopilot, which I think was another $12,000 in order to get that package,
that's
we'd be
what
getting it a lot sooner. We get it a lot sooner. Tesla,
it's $12,000 extra.
They definitely scale who gets what first based on the amount of extras that they're willing to spend. And that's the biggest extra you could get. If you get that, you're probably going to get it. I don't know how it is now, but back when we were ordering, if we had gotten that, we probably would have got it within a couple of months. But instead we're waiting because we didn't get that. It's kind of like our punishment for not trusting Tesla and their autopilot.
Could you upgrade to that or that's a capability that's just not there?
That's a good question. I believe that you can upgrade to that, but I could be mistaken on that. I guess I haven't really looked into it too much because I'm just kind of not that interested in it, to be honest. That doesn't matter that much to me, the whole self-driving aspect. I don't really care.
Stacey,
for me and for us, it's purely about kind of cost savings, like knowing that we can pull the power from our solar and not have to pay for gas as much as we are right now.
No, I chose a Tesla because I think it's fun to drive. And
it's fun to drive.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of it too. Like, my wife has said a number of times in the past couple of months, like, she never in a million years imagined buying a vehicle like a Tesla because it kind of has a flash factor to it and everything. But when she drove one, she was like, you know what? This car drives the way I want a car to drive. And I'm finally at a point in my life where I can buy a car that I actually really want and kind of spoil myself a little bit. Let's do it. And I was like, all right,
why not? Sure.
Did you try the other electrics?
Yeah. Drove a few of them. And I just, drove Leo's vehicle. What is that? That is Mach-E. The Mustang, right? The Mach-E.
The Mach-E, yeah.
And that was nice. I definitely fit into it. There was just something about, I don't know. There was something about the experience that it wasn't very tangible, but I was kind of like between that and the Y, I think that was probably the two that I was considering most from my perspective. And there was just something about the experience in the Y that I enjoyed better. There's something about the styling.
You don't have to answer this either, but did you and your wife have any discussion about, what about Elon?
Yeah, you know what? We honestly have not really had much of a discussion about that. I mean, I've had that. I've tossed that around in my head because I don't know how closely she's necessarily following, the day-to-day machinations of what Elon Musk is doing. I certainly do. And there's a part of me that has kind of negotiated that internally. And at the end of the day, I'm kind of like, you know what? I may not.
Steve Jobs was a jerk too, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the company is bigger than just Elon. I actually know some people who have worked at Tesla and who do work at Tesla, and I know they're great people. And so, to an extent, like, am I supporting Elon by getting the vehicle? Sure, but I'm also supporting a lot of really great people as well. So, I don't know. That's how I'm justifying it.
I've sat in the Y, and I've also sat in that Mach-E, and in my experience, that Mach-E definitely feels more like a fighter jet cockpit when you sit in it.
Yeah.
And the Y feels more like a sensible car, and it was just comfortable,
Yeah, it's a good way to put it. There was something about the interior styling of the Mach-E that just didn't work as well for me compared to the Tesla. So,
is the Y the goal? The doors that attacked Lisa?
No, thankfully. Thankfully.
No.
Our neighbor has the Model X, and we have borrowed it from time to time, and it has the gull wings, and I hate them. I can't stand them. Like, they're so unnecessary and dumb.
Just give me suicide
That's
doors,
just my opinion.
man. Give me suicide doors, not those.
Suicide door?
I don't even know what suicide doors are.
What is a suicide door?
Man, y'all need to look up a 64 Lincoln Continental, or as we used to call it, Stankin' Lincoln. And it's a 4-door car. Yeah, and they open up that way.
Yeah.
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 Why
they open
are
away from each other.
Doors?
I have no idea why they were called suicide
good question.
doors.
Oh, I don't like that name. But
and I want to say Rolls-Royce has suicide doors as well. Yeah.
I don't think any of us are getting a Rolls anytime soon. So
no.
Next year we'll have one.
Okay. Well, good for you.
They are called suicide
Congratulations.
doors. You search.
Yeah. I could dream.
Why? Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know why, but yeah, one of my favorite cars is a 64 Lincoln Continental. Just a beautiful tank of a car. And then it's got suicide doors on it. Just a little bit of extra touch on it. Love it.
Wikipedia says they're called that primarily because they are perceived as being less safe than a front hinged door. I don't know if that's accurate.
Interesting. Didn't know that.
That's what Wikipedia says. Yeah,
today
Wikipedia
I learned
knows all. There you go. DIO.
All right, should we do the rear edge? So if the vehicle was moving and they sprang open, anyone who grabbed to stop that happening was whisked out of their seat into the roadway.
Oh boy.
That's wow.
Not good.
Nobody wore seatbelts back then.
Yep, that's true.
Nobody wore seatbelts. But if someone wanted to give me a 64 Lincoln, I'd take it. A working 64 Lincoln, I'd take it.
Oh, working. You got to be picky.
Yes.
Did you ever read that book I told you to read, Ant, about...
I'm just now about to finish Clara and the Sun.
Don't get cranky about that. It's called Blacktop Wasteland, and it's about a getaway driver. And I swear there's a 64 Lincoln in that book.
Blacktop Wasteland. No,
you got to read it, man. Or listen to it.
I will add it to the queue. I will add it to the queue.
It's like Ocean's 11 meets Drive, says the synopsis on Amazon.
Nice. I see that.
There you go.
Okay. There you
Got
go.
it. Thank you.
Right on. Let's do tips, tricks, things, all that stuff. We are at the nearing the end of this episode. Got to keep us on track.
Some tricks at the end of this show. Yeah.
Something along those lines, I suppose. Yep. Jeff, what you got?
Oh, what should I do? Oh, geez, going to me first. Oh, no. Okay. I'll
Why not?
This one. Just to keep me off my rocker. So Old Country is a novel and a Netflix deal that came out of Reddit, which I think is pretty cool. Matt Query was in r/No Sleep, which were first-person horror stories. Yeah. His thriller, My Wife and I Bought a Ranch, was so engrossing, says the Washington Post, it led to a book deal and a Netflix adaptation. Comes out July 26th. And earlier reviews are comparing Query's writing alongside his brother, co-writer Harrison Query, to horror masters Stephen King and Paul Tremblay. So
that's great. I love that.
I won't be doing it, but I love that it came out of Reddit. I think that is an indication of where we go here, is that these are ideas that couldn't have gone through the gauntlet of publishing houses, which I'm trying to go through right now, and wouldn't have stood out, or it was just a simple little story or an idea and somebody saw the potential in it. And that kind of finding new talent and collaboration is what excites me most about the internet. So yay to the Query brothers.
That is really cool. How cool to write something and post it to a Reddit forum and end up with a book deal. And I could have made my thing awesome.
Emmanuel the TikTok emu, but you wouldn't let me.
It's just an emu that tries to steal somebody's. Yes, I've seen it. It's not that funny.
All right. You might also enjoy a history of user interfaces, but I think don't bother. It's boring.
No, that would be fascinating.
All right. If you insist.
All right.
Stacey can blame you for her hunger. So it starts with the Xerox.
Which line is that on?
It's in my stuff. It's in my things. It's line 165. There we go. You got it. So dive in, which just scrolls up is all it does. Starting with the Alto. It doesn't have CP/M. It doesn't have Chrome, but it has Alto, Xerox Star, Lisa.
Cool,
dude!
But you can get the images, which is nice.
This is much better than Emmanuel.
Yeah, no, I agree.
This is much better.
Emmanuel would irritate you. That's the whole point. Be honest here.
Fair enough.
When to interview Bill Gates when Windows came out, because the editor of People magazine, who was going to write the profile of him being one of the 25 most intriguing people, had no idea what computers and laptops and things were. So I had to explain. I had to do like a simultaneous translation between Gates and him at Windows coming out.
Wow.
What it meant. That was it.
This is cool. I love
this. This is awesome.
Very geeky.
It's pretty sweet. Very. That's what I love about it. Right on. Thank you, Jeff. Stacey, what you got?
To the creator, I think it's really a cool idea. It is Whoosh is actually shipping costs, because you have to put it. They're big. They're not heavy, but they have to be protected and whatnot.
Yep.
So he was like, why don't we create a filter that is replaceable and can be mailed in like not a flat pack, but like, now what's interesting is once you have a filter that stays, like the filter screen part stays in place, you can add a lot of sensors to it. So they've added an air quality sensor. They've added some pressure sensors for air pressure in your vents. So you can start doing like information about how well your air is moving, and he's trying to work, like, their goal is to become a data company, not to make this stuff. But their work that you can create a smarter HVAC system without putting all your vents, you know how people are doing like vent covers and stuff like that. I've seen people try to attach sensors to air vents, and it sucks because then you throw that replaces that. And then you get like good data about like how well your air's performing in your home. So that's
just show up. Nice.
So that's this is.
May I do an addendum to my earlier? So if you get into that, folks,
I thought it was going to be that
an entire
manual
Twitter
again.
account of that. No, I didn't do it. I listen. It's democracy. I listen to the will of the people. So much for holding to the concept.
Of course, there's always one.
It's so much cooler than all the cats.
All right,
right on. Ant, what you got?
For me, my picks are fairly quick. First up, Adobe Max. We've talked about that in the past, the 18th through the 21st. I don't know if I will be there covering it or not. I'd like to be, but we'll see. It's going to be live or virtual because they had it virtual last year. So they're going to give you a virtual option too if you can't attend. They're still working out all of the speakers, but I believe they got a bunch of them. max.adobe.com and register to hang out at the creator conference. I love it. I love being there and seeing the people and learning some things too. Next, we were talking about birthdays and pre-shows, and this is a bit of a shout out to a friend of mine and an actual former Google employee, but she's still back in Charlotte, my friend Tamika. I told her I would mention it on the air because I believe in the Little League fundraiser and Little League sports. So I will always advocate for that. They've already met their goal, but you can still donate to it, buying a bag of popcorn or something like that. The popcorn people get half of the funds and the football team gets the other half. And it's good because they can use the support. I've worked on these. So what you end up doing is helping to provide a spot for a kid that their parents couldn't afford to be on the team. You know, my kids, they both played rec ball, didn't have a problem getting them on, but there was a couple times where I had to come out of my pocket to help pay for another kid to be able to play that I know wanted to play and was a good kid. And it's just unfortunate his parents couldn't afford it. And fundraisers like this help keep the coaches from coming out of their pockets like that. And plus help provide some decent equipment and things like that. So link will be in the show notes. And happy birthday, Tamika. And lastly, just follow me on Instagram. The whole video versus photography thing on there. And that algorithm has been quite fascinating.
You have a new headshot too. Did you take that of yourself?
Yeah, that's good. I liked that.
Yes, sir, I did. I was like,
there's the camera person to kind of like pull you out of your own head in order to look natural.
I just shots or so, and then I'll stop.
And then you'll run it through.
And it will return. It already is, sir.
Yeah. I can do nothing with.
Meanwhile, mine will be, Stacy, pick a better shot. Thanks, Dolly.
Oh, my pick is it's just something that I thought was kind of cool. Apparently, there's now a Lego kit for the Atari 2600 console. I guess what is it? It's the 1970 shy of 2,600 pieces. It's 2,532 pieces.
Oh, really? Come on.
That would have been perfect, but anyways, it's kind of cool looking. Something. Let's be honest. But it's going to be available August 1st, $240. So a little pricey, but very cool for the video game nerds out there. And actually on the inside, it's not a fully functional console or anything to my knowledge anyways. But if you open it up on the inside, it's a recreation of like a night. Love it. Has a couple of cartridges that you can put into it and everything. It fits the cartridges.
Wait, does the living room have the faux wood paneling? Tell me.
It has to. It has to.
Yeah,
right?
It looks like it has wood paneling to me. I mean, it's their brown guitar and a CRT monitor and a boombox and all the things.
Wow. Yeah, there's a little phone that's apparently. Well, no, I guess that's how big phones were. It looks a little big, but I'm like, no, actually, I guess.
No, they were pretty gigantic.
No, that's a pretty large phone. Yeah, that's a pretty large one. And actually, they could actually move around the joystick and stuff. So
is it a dynamic joystick?
Pretty awesome. I love it.
Hey, kids.
What's that? What is that?
Fancy phone,
I don't understand.
sir.
What is that, Jeff?
That thing's fancy.
It has the little cordy cord. The
talking
cord.
PBX too.
From the museum.
Wow. So pretend. That's what those old phones are good for now. They're good for being toys.
That's a thrift store
pretend
gem
office.
right there, sir.
Yes, indeed. This episode of This
Good
Week
job,
in Google,
boss.
always so much fun hanging out with you.
Brought us
Three.
through.
Thank you
Nice
so much.
work, sir. Nice work.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun.
You can find everything at stacyoniot.com. And, download the podcast if you're into the IoT and sign up for the newsletter. It's free.
Do it. You, Jeff. Where do you want to direct everyone?
Once I get a pub date, I'll be plugging the book every week, but not until then. So you're safe until then.
All right. We'll be on the lookout, waiting for that. And finally, but we should say buzzmachine.com if people really want to find Jeff.
Yeah, well,
you can do that.
There
you go. And then And Pruitt, what do you want to leave people with? What you got in the works?
Hey, hands-on photography this week. A bit of a different episode coming up. Going to talk about some of your photography imperfections, if you will, and it's going to be fun. So make sure you're tuned in Thursday. It'll drop, so twit.tv/HOP. And also be sure to go and check out some prints, antpruitt.com/prints.
Indeed. Definitely check that out. Thank you so much, Ant. Always a good time hanging out with you on this show.
Thank you,
all
sir.
Three of you. I really enjoy filling in for Leo when he's out on this show.
We enjoy having you.
Yeah,
Thanks
we
for
do.
letting me drop in and crash the party. You can find me at Jason Howell on Twitter if you want to find me there. Also doing Tech News Weekly every Thursday. So tomorrow with Micah Sargent. It's an interview-based show, and we have a lot of fun with that. And then finally, All About Android every Tuesday, twit.tv/AAA. Actually, this upcoming All About Android, we have Florence Ion coming on, and we're going to have some full-on hands-on reviews of some devices that you're going to want to check out. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but a lot of hands-on reviews. So check it out this upcoming Tuesday. Flo's going to have some reviews in tow. We do this show, or Leo and the gang usually anyways, does this show every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, 2100 UTC. I think that comes out about right. At least that's what's on the website. If you go to twit.tv/TWIG, you can find all the details that you need to know to subscribe to this show in audio and video formats. And also don't forget, we've got Club Twit, twit.tv/ClubTwit. That's our subscription ad-free service for all of our shows. No ads. You also get access to our members-only Discord and Twit Plus content like the book club with Stacy and Ant and so much more. I mean, Ant's just killing it with coordinating cool content for everybody that's a member of the club, and more to come. So you're doing a great job. I love it. You're keeping the energy high, and that's exactly what it needs. So that's twit.tv/ClubTwit. But that is it for this week's episode of This Week in Google. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye, everybody.
Hey, I'm Rod Pyle, editor of Ad Astra Magazine, and each week I'm joined by Tarek Malik, the editor-in-chief over at Space.com, in our new This Week in Space podcast. Every Friday, Tarek and I take a deep dive into the stories that define the new space age. What's NASA up to? When will Americans once again set foot on the moon? And how about those samples from the Perseverance rover? When are those coming home? What the heck has Elon Musk done now? In addition to all the latest and greatest in space exploration, we'll take an occasional look at bits of spaceflight history that you probably never heard of, and all with an eye towards having a good time along the way. Check us out on your favorite podcatcher.